power of us. One power, one presence, that one presence that is in each one of us, God, the good. So as we're winding up this month with the power of order, we remember at the beginning, we heard all about how we need to crush our marbles with Nancy Jacklow. Let's get rid of those old marbles so that we can let new ones in. I've never had that thought before of marbles, but I thought it was pretty interesting the way she did that. And then Reverend Carla talked about what it means to be a mother or a mother figure and how we all are that in the world. And that takes organization. So that's a part of order, organization. And we know that as being mothers or mother figures, it takes a lot of organization. And then Janine shared with us the creation story, 7 days, and then helped us with the metaphysical meaning of each one of those. So today, as we wind this up, we're going to look at how we are called to divine order, spiritual evolution. So I want you to put on your seatbelts, and I want you to get ready. Because as you look around, you see all kinds of order. You see the order of all these chairs, exactly where they are. Dwayne worked very hard this week on those. And then we look outside, and all around us we see the beauty of order. All around us, even in the weeds, they grow orderly. They really do, just to ask our people that are getting rid of them. And then we look at nature, the nature of animals and insects, and we see how they get along. All these species get along with one another. They're engaged in the circle of life, in harmony and in flow. That's natural order. We, on the other hand, need a little help sometimes from Mother Nature. And in there lies our need to learn from the birds of the air and the lilies of the field, as Jesus reminds us that they don't worry about a thing. Jesus instructs us to go with the flow, just as the birds of the air and the lilies of the field, believing that we are taken care of and that everything is in order. Here we are, the highest form of life that we know, and we have difficulty establishing harmony and right relationships. So we have much to learn from nature. Order is necessary, otherwise there's chaos in our lives. I remember raising my 3 teenage children. And if you want to see chaos, you look in their room. Okay, I have to share this with you. Their rooms were such a mess. Did anybody ever experience this with their teenagers? Or did anybody themselves do this as teenagers? Things thrown all over because they're so busy they can't. How they ever got to their beds without falling and breaking their necks. How they ever, and I didn't know what was growing in there. So from week to week, I would say before you go out for the day, you have to clean your rooms. And they did it because they wanted to get out, you know. So they would clean their rooms, and for a day and a half, they would look pretty good. And then we'd go right back to it. So that's physical chaos, you know, the physical world of chaos. And I might mention that every one of them have beautiful homes now that are in perfect order. There's no, you know, I have to be careful when I'm there that I don't make a mess, yeah. So this power tool that we've been talking about all month is appreciating and practicing power in our lives, appreciating natural order and looking underneath that natural order to the principle of divine order. We use the term divine order here in Unity a lot. Do we understand what that means? Do we understand it to really practice it, or we just say, oh, it's all in divine order, all is well? Do we believe it? Do we take it from our intellect and put it in our hearts? Do we believe that everything is here to work out for the best for us, no matter how difficult it might seem in the moment? Order fascinates us. It's the key to growth. We start right where we are. First, we learn intellectually about the qualities of life. Little children start that right away. We start teaching them kindness and love and generosity, how to play well with others. We take that in. And as we develop that, we go from our heads to our hearts. Once we understand the qualities of love and we understand that we are one in kindness and in understanding and in patience, then we put it to work. And the more we put it to work, the more we awaken in our minds until one day our hearts are so touched that they open. They crack open with what I say, spiritual light. And we know, we feel, we actually experience that power of order in a way where we're not afraid to open our hearts. We're not afraid to be who we really are. One voice, one power. And when we do that, then we continue to practice it. In our book study right now, we're reading Matt Kahn's book, All for Love. And this past week, something struck every one of us, and we said, oh, we have to underline this, so I want to share it with you. He says, step by step, moment by moment, and offering by offering of ourselves, he's talking about, you increase the likelihood that life will bring out your best to support the best in others. And it will be without you always needing a crisis. You can just do it, offer your greatest self to others, and what emerges from that is unbelievable. 20 years ago, and I can't believe I'm saying 20 years ago, I was taking the trash out where I lived, my house, and a man came out next door taking trash out, and I know my neighbor, and I didn't recognize this guy. I thought, who is this man taking out the trash? Well, it didn't take long. He walked right over to me. He had long white hair. It was flowing, and it was a little on the wild side. He came over to me, introduced himself, looked me in the eye, and he said, oh, you're here from the angelic realm. Yeah, right. And I go, yeah, sure. And then he says, you're here because you can't stand injustice. And you got to get through that in your life. He hands me a card, and he walks away. I went, what in the world just happened to me? Obviously, he believes in reincarnation because I'm back again. I wonder how many more times I'm going to need to do that. And then I had to try to take all that in. So, Andrew, I'm ready to share this card with all of you. There it is. When I have released the attachment to the outcome in any situation, when I stop expecting anything from the world, from my friends, my family, and myself, and when I stop reacting and thinking I need to be right, then freely, lovingly, the world is able to give me everything. That's the power of evolution. Well, it took me a while to get over that chance meeting with that man and receiving what I thought was a very, very difficult message. But after allowing it to sink in, because the trick for me was it said the way to evolve, and geez, I had been working on that for years. So I'm going, okay, I better really look at this card seriously. And what I realized, it's really about divine order. I realized that this card was about surrendering to love and to trust myself and others. And that everything in our lives is for good, it's ours for the taking, and we have to surrender to that in order to evolve, in order to raise our consciousness. So after that, I called my neighbor on the phone, and I went, Ginny, Who is that man that's living in your house? And how did this happen? She says, he's been visiting my sister, and he's a handyman. And what he does is he goes and helps people in their homes. And what he's looking for is just room and board. Well, Ginny and her husband were very, they were in need of a handyman. So they had him come to their house. And it just so happened that I was taking out the trash the same time that he was. This man brought about a huge awakening in my life with this little card. Order starts with the establishment of a concept. And a concept is what he handed me. What I did with it was up to me. What I knew is that it would lead to right relationships, harmonious results. But come on, is it still up there? Yeah, look, that's a big order to fill. So, am I being asked to be open and curious no matter what goes on in my life instead of being attached to something? Oh, I'm going to go out there now and I'm going to get in line for my taco. And by God, by the time I get there, there better be some left. Well, that's an attachment to something, isn't it? That little, it can be an attachment. I have to stop expecting anything from anybody? Really? And just meet them where they are, love them for who they are, right there, instead of me expecting them to be something else or somewhere else in their lives. Okay. And I have to stop needing to be right. I have to stop reacting. Oh my gosh, have you ever reacted to something and wish you hadn't? Okay, yeah. Well, just ask Gary, my husband, if I've ever done that, and he'll tell you no. So, very well trained. He even told me that when I'm done, if I do a good job, he's going to give me a mint. So, there we go. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to leave my ego at the door. Remember, I've said before, go get a room and do it without me. Well, for sure I'm going to have to do that because I don't need to be right about anything. And when I can do that freely and lovingly, the world gives me everything. What does that mean? Well, it sounds like freedom to me, for sure. And what I get back from that, from the world, is peace, joy, a lack of anxiety. I'm full of energy that could be drained, but instead it isn't. I could go on and on. There's no getting around it. We must work first on ourselves from within, right? We have to bring forth the God ideas into our immediate environment. We are one power. We are one presence. And under no circumstances do we force anybody to be anything other than they are. But we work on ourselves and get that work done. And going back to what Matt Kahn said, our offerings change the world. What we have to offer changes the world. What's interesting is way back when, instant gratification became very, very popular. I think it was the time the first McDonald's opened. And we realized that we could just have a hamburger ready in a bun with pickles and mustard and relish and everything we like wrapped in a package, and we had to pull up and pick it up. And Mom didn't have to cook that night. I don't know if that's when it started, but I can tell you this, that instant gratification runs our lives a lot. And what that does is that cuts into divine order, trusting that all is well where it is, wanting what we want when we want it. When we develop a level of order, we're bringing about tremendous growth within ourselves and allowing divine potential to come forth. We're balancing wisdom and love and understanding. We're open and we're curious. What's going on here instead of what's going on here? And actually committed to learning What does life mean as it's unfolding right in front of my very eyes? Understanding that all challenges that come up, no matter how big or small, no tacos left, right? It's this. We have asked to grow through that. Our daily schedule is a juggling act, isn't it? Is there anybody who feels like their daily schedule isn't a juggling act, even if it's to try to get on the golf course? You've got somebody in front of you who's way too slow, or you've got somebody who doesn't know how to play pickleball and they're getting hurt. Whatever it is, it becomes a juggling act, and that juggling act just means we handle one thing at a time. We don't come from, everything happens to me. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I picked the wrong time to tee off. I don't know why that ball won't go in that hole. You can tell I'm not a golfer. And what happens is we end up complaining and we want somebody else to fix it for us, right? So we become victims and martyrs. And you know what? When that happens, we are missing out on the beauty of life. We need to learn to juggle more, to adjust, not want that instant gratification, and engage in our deepest sense of wisdom that is in each one of us. That's how we awaken. It's not hard. It just takes practice. Charles Fillmore says, and he's the co-founder of Unity, evolution is the power of order demonstrated as the development of our spiritual unfolding. Our urge to evolve comes from our catching the divine idea, for example, wisdom, understanding, and cooperating with it. He goes on to say, what we are is the result of the evolution of our consciousness, and our consciousness is the result of the ideas sown in your mind. Spiritual evolution is the unfolding of the Spirit of God in expression, and that's achieved by us. We are the Spirit of God in expression. I think it's exciting. What do you think? What? This is exciting. And true awakening comes when we surrender to that. When we surrender to these cares and these worries and this anxiety, we go back to what Jesus said. Come on. If I'm going to take care of, and I'm paraphrasing him, if I'm going to take care of, if God's going to take care of the lilies of the field and the birds of the air, what do you think it's going to happen for you? You are the actual expression of God. What do you think? Let go. It takes a deep faith, though, doesn't it? It takes a deep faith in ourselves, a deep faith knowing that God is within us and is everywhere present, to realize that we're in charge of ourselves, that we get to change as much as we want, whenever we want. That's free will. So this card given to me 20 years ago summed it up perfectly for me. I've been working on it ever since. I believe that we're called to this, and I think that man was a miracle in my life. I never saw him again. I didn't want to. I was kind of afraid. Yeah. And I'll tell you what happens to me when I fall short. And those of you that know me can know that I am very human like the rest of us, and I can fall short. But the most wonderful thing is that I know I have affirmative prayer to get me back on track. And I have meditation to get me back on track. And I have people that care about me to get me back on track. This all comes from unity. All the blessings. How blessed I am. And how blessed we all are. You know I have homework for you, right? You can't get away without getting homework, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. In the back of the room, the ushers are going to give you that card. It's a little bit bigger than the little one I got, but it's a nice card. If you want it, take it. Read it. Allow yourself to practice just the part about releasing the attachment to the outcome in any situation. Don't look at the whole thing. It'll just, you're going to need a coach to help you otherwise. Just look at the one part. Release the attachment to the outcome of whatever is facing you right there in that moment. And I guarantee you, you will evolve. And divine order will really, really prevail. It will prevail in every one of us as we're willing to be that one power. We know that really all is well. And so as we move into meditation right now, move around in your chairs just a little bit and take a nice deep breath. And find your center, that's your solar plexus. Just find it, put your hands there as we listen to Amy and Jesse.
Take me to green pastures, lay me by still waters, back to the beginning, deep within my soul. Plant me in the meadow, shower me with sunlight, lift me up from under, teach me how to grow. All is well, all is well. Listen to the Spirit whisper, all is well. All is well, all is well. In silence you can hear it whisper, all is well. All is well, all is well.
And as we breathe in, all is well. Just breathe that in. Take a nice deep breath from your lungs all the way up to the top of your head. Picture that breath coming all the way up and slowly releasing it. I celebrate divine order within me. My entire body is in physical, divine order. Every cell in my body, every organ within me. All is well. Order is my nature. I am the power of order by the way I connect with my magnificent source. And I know that all is well. I am the evolving power of order, awakening to my ever unfolding consciousness. I establish an enlightened future for myself. All is well. I'm adjusting to the power of order, adjusting my mindset, ready to correct my course of action if needed. I am the power of divine order. As I go into the silence right now, knowing that there is a clear path, an open door for my consciousness to be raised up moment by moment, choice by choice. I know that the power of surrendering to the love that I am, that God within, makes everything all is well as we come back into the room. It's a new environment, a new place, a new feeling. And so it is.